problem 515, another decision tree. You have three alternatives. You can use your internal engineers, you can use outside bidders, or do the project as a joint design. In the table, which is probably a lot easier for you to read than some of the other problems we've been doing, the internal engineers have three possible outcomes. 40% chance it'll be on time, 50% chance it'll be 1 week late, and a 10% chance it'll be 2 weeks late. If it's on time, $96,000 is your cost. If it's 1 week late, you have to be careful. You have to pay, all right? It'll cost $12,000 per week. A lot of students in the past have forgot to add the fact that there is a extra week of pay for the engineers. They're not going to work for free. And the penalty for late per week is $14,000. So it's not just a $14,000 penalty. There's also an extra week of cost for your internal engineers. If it's 2 weeks late, it's another $12,000 on top of the 1 week. So you have an extra $24,000 of labor plus 2 weeks penalty. So that's where the $122,000 comes from and the $148,000. So be careful to make sure that not only do you count the penalty, which most students get, they forget about the extra week of labor. Think about this. If you were going to be working on this project for a certain period of time and they asked you to work an extra week, you're not going to do it for free. With the outside bidders, there's 4 possible outcomes: on time, 1 week late, 2 weeks late, and 3 weeks late. You see the cost is $92,000 and you don't pay them extra, right? Or they don't get paid extra for this. So in this particular case, you don't have to add an extra week outside an extra week of labor costs. You just add the penalty. So it's $92,000 plus 14 for 106, then 120 and 134. So there's a chance you could be 3 weeks late and pay $42,000 in penalties. But the $92,000 cost stays the same. Under the joint design, once again, you have 4 possibilities. And the weights change to 10, 30, 40, and 20% from on time to 3 weeks late. The initial cost is $86,000. And once again, you're simply paying the penalty for lateness. It's $86,000. It's a flat amount, whether it's on time or 3 weeks late. But you have to pay the weekly penalty. You multiply it by the weight, and you do the final calculation. So you take 30% of the $100,000 for the joint design, 40% of the 114, 20% of the 112. You total it up with 86,000, and you wind up with 109,800. Now, because this is a cost, you've got 3 alternatives: 114,200 cost for the internal, 110,200 for the outside bidder, or 109,800 for the joint design. Even though it's only slightly lower, the joint design is better by $400 than the outside bidder. And the internal engineers is the worst from a cost point of view. There may be reasons that are beyond the scope of a problem like this that you would still do it with your internal engineers because of quality control or just wanting to manage it yourself. $5,000 is not a big amount of money for in certain circumstances, and let alone $400. But your answer is, once you've gone through the math, so you've got 3 alternatives. Internal engineers has 3 possibilities or 3 probable outcomes. Outside bidders has 4 possibilities or potential outcomes, and joint design also has 4. You calculate the costs like we've done in the previous problems, total them up, and you simply pick, because it is cost, you pick the lowest number. So hopefully you found that fairly straightforward and easy to understand.